Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. Today we're going over a deck profile for a budget deck for premium, and it will be blasters. So if you're looking to get into premium, you're looking to build your first deck maybe, you will be able to do so with this video, and it will cost you around $35. Now do note, I am going off TCG player pricing, and so depending on how many sellers you're buying from and maybe shipping, it could be lower or higher, but regardless, it will be very, very affordable compared to many other decks out there. Now the first thing you want to do for this deck is buy a V trial deck Aichi Sendo for around $15 in the US, maybe 20 max, or about 16 euros in Europe. Now the rest will be singles, or if you already bought the Legend deck of Aichi Sendo last year, you will be able to save a few extra dollars as well. Now, this is a budget build, so some choices will be less ideal than maybe the best build out there, but it will still be a very solid deck, and I will give you upgrade options at the end of the video for if you're feeling like, I could buy this for $35, but I have an extra 20 lying around, what could I do with this? I will put those upgrades at the end of this video. We start with our main grade 3, for Alfred Early, which is part of the trial deck. It's just the best card you want to ride. It creates your force markers, it potentially calls a blaster blade, it also turns all of your cards live who require Alfred names on your heart or on your V. So Alfred Early is basically the card you want to be riding. Our backup grade 3 is for New Style Blaster Liu. This card costs 65 cents or $2.6 for a playset. The reason we go for this card is because it's a blaster name, so in case that you misride, all your card effects still work because you're still on a blaster card, and he can also recycle some blaster blades for you that manage to get into the drop zone. For grade 2, we run 4 Blaster Blade. Again, you can get this one from the trial deck. Blaster Blade is the main card for the deck, and so of course we want to be running 4. We also run 4 Undulatory Sage Tarna. This card costs 30 cents, so about $1.2 for a playset. This card will allow you to re-ride Alfred Early from your deck multiple times, and this way create many force markers in a single turn, depending on how many Tarnas you can actually get into hand. That's why it's a pretty solid card, and it's also really budget. We also run 3 Star Hope Trumpeter. This card is 5 cents, or if you bought a Legend deck before, you already have it. For those 3, you will basically be paying 15 cents. The reason we run this card is because it allows you to search out a particular critical trigger, Floral Paladin Flogel, which is basically the base engine of the deck. It will allow you to do many nice things, but we'll get into that later on. For grade 1s, we run 4 Strong Knight Runoria, which is a perfect guard from the trial deck. Of course, there's other perfect guards out there, but this is the most budget option. We also run 4 Knight Squire Allen. The reason for it is that it lets you plus, and thus you have an easier time building field, and it also has a high amount of guard, meaning you can combo it with a really cool G-guard that I will mention later on. Now, for the most expensive card in the deck, we run 3 Laurel Knight Sicilus, which costs $3.3 per card, so you will be paying a total sum of $9.9 for these 3. As I said, this is the most expensive card in the deck. It is a stride fodder. It will allow you to stride more easily. Since you want to be re-riding your Alfred Early and you still want to be able to stride, this card is a must, and so it is the most expensive card in the deck, sadly. Finally, for grade 1s, we have 3 Little Tactician Marin, another 5-cent card, or if you own a Legend deck, it's free, so you will be paying 15 cents for the 3, and we run it for the same reason we run Star Hope Trumpeter. It will allow you to fetch that particular critical trigger. Now for grade 0s, we have our starter Gleim from the trial deck. Now you could also pick up Blue Scud Barkle for 5 cents or from the Legend deck if you prefer a way to reliably search a blaster blade, but it costs a counterblast and is only active at GB1. Personally, I would stick with the Gleim for now, and it's also free since it's in the trial deck. Next up, 4 critical triggers, that particular one. Floral Paladin Flogel. This card is 85 cents to $1, so for a playset you will be paying between $3.4 and $4. This card will allow you to restand your Blaster Blade, and since your Blaster Blade will have Twin Drive because of a certain stride, and be on multiple force markers because of Alfred Early's gift, you will be swinging with a gigantic, threatening Blaster Blade multiple times. Therefore, this card is a must. It is the base of your aggressive engine. Next is 4 Flogel Critical Trigger from the trial deck. You could also run the other critical trigger, I just like these doggos. 4 Margul, a draw trigger from the trial deck, and 4 Yggdrasil Maiden Elaine, the 4 heal triggers from the trial deck. Your G-Zone consists of 4 Divine Night King Alfred Holy Saver. This card costs 11 cents, or if you have the legend deck already, you have it already, and so 44 cents for the playset. This card is your main stride. You can't use it as a first stride unless you went first, and so you could G-guard and then you can start striding this card. So if that's not the case, this is your second and third stride. This card will give Twin Drive to your Blaster Blade, and so it's the key to making your Blaster Blade swings as threatening as possible. Apart from that, this makes it so you have 5 drive checks in total this turn, meaning there's a very large chance that you hit multiple critical triggers, which you can all put on the Blaster Blade. So it's pretty usual to have a 50k Blaster Blade swinging 2 times at your opponent with multiple crits, and they simply can't guard and you win. This is again a must card. It is one of your key cards. Next up is 1 Holy Dragon Myriad Soul Saver. 17 cents, or if you already have the legend deck, you have it. So 17 cents for the 1 card. One funny thing is actually the shiny version, the triple rare, is cheaper than the common one. So it's 17 cents for the common one, but it's 14 cents for the shiny nice one. I know what to pick. This card is a possible first stride, so if you had a really nice rushy early game, you could go into this card and win right then and there, if you have the soul for it. However, if that's not the case, we have another possible first stride, 1 Holy Dragon Legit Sword Dragon. This card costs $1. It will allow you to search out a Blaster Blade, so in case you don't have access to a Blaster Blade, this guy will do that for you. We also run 1 Great Flash Isolt, 19 cents, or in the legend deck, this is just a solid G-guard that hits good numbers. We run 2 Little Great Sage Marin, 9 to 20 cents, so you will be paying 18 to 40 cents for the 2. This card is a huge G-guard. It thins your deck as well, and as I said before, together with Night Squire Ellen, you hit some huge numbers. The final G-Guard is 1 Dark Element Dismal, which costs 90 cents. This card will allow you to protect your Blaster Blade more efficiently. In a deck where Blaster Blade is everything, that's very valuable. Now you will notice that this is not 16 cards, and you could have 16 cards in your G-Zone. Well, the reason for that is you only stride a first stride, and then you go into Alfred. That's the only thing this deck does. Some people may go, okay, I want to run Altmile, I want to run Fides and so many other cards, but to be fair, in 99% of the situations, you're simply not gonna go for them. So if you want to keep it budget, don't feel pushed into having to run the 16 cards. With that being said, if you do want to run them, you have these options. You could get 2 Blazing Sword Fides, which is $1 per card. Just like Legit Sword Dragon, this card will search out Blaster Blade from your deck. You could run 1 Air Element Sea Breeze for $1. And you could run 1 Divine Knight of Condensed Light Olbius Avalon, which is a $3.4 card. It's a GB8, basically your final finisher, but usually people will just be dead by the second Alfred Holy Saver. That brings us to a total of $35 for the deck, the base deck that is. The most expensive card in the deck is a $3 Stride Fodder, so yeah, it's a really solid budget deck, to be honest. Like, it will run pretty close to my full price version of it, and it's just really solid to get started with. It's also not that complex to play, so it's a really good entry point. Now, for the possible upgrades, let's say you spent the $35, those big $35, you got this deck and you're like, well, I have $25 more. I want to upgrade. Well, here's a little list of things you could upgrade. The very first thing I would upgrade, and it's probably the most expensive upgrade, but it's so worth it. is Gancelot. This G-Zone card is usually what you want to be striding first. Not only does it countercharge for you, it also has 4 drive checks, and so because of that, your blaster blade has an even bigger chance of swinging multiple times with even bigger numbers. You also plus, and your blaster blade gets resist in case you go up against Kagero with their Denial Griffin. So if you have the $25 to spend, I will highly recommend getting a Gancelot. Now there are some cheaper upgrades you could do as well. For example, you could pick up a Wingull Brave or a Bargull together with a certain crit, and that way upgrade your starter, though I don't think this is the best place to upgrade right now, because if you run the Wingull Brave, you will also need some other blaster cards, and I don't know, I just don't think it's worth it to go away from Gleim when you're going budget. There's even some people putting Gleim in their full price build because it's just a really solid option. Now one thing you could look at upgrading as well is your perfect guards. As you noticed, we used the trial deck perfect guards, but there are 2 other options. Either you play the draw PGs or you play Lien, which is a practically free perfect guard for a Soul Blast. So that's really solid right there. You could also, and then we get into some other expensive upgrades, buy King of Knights Alfred. The reason for that is that you want to have as many chances to ride Alfred as you possibly can. And so this will greatly affect ride consistency. Now do note this card is about $25 right now. So then we start to get into standard price territory. You could also buy 2 Ariel Divine Knight Altmile, but again, I don't think it's worth it because you really want to be striding Gancelot or Alfred all the time. And finally, if you really have the cash for it, you could also buy a Ultima, which is an ultimate stride, a Zerov Dragon, and it's a really great finisher. Regardless, even if you don't upgrade this at all and just run with the $35 build, you will still have a great time, you will have a good entry point into premium, and you can also upgrade later. So I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please subscribe to the Solemn Vanguard channel, click the bell button to stay up to date, like the video if you liked the video, and more importantly, let me know your thoughts on this thing in the comments down below. Do you have another thing you would have changed? Keep in mind we're keeping it budget. Do you want to see a budget list for maybe another clan? Let me know and I will try to see what I can do. I will see you soon. Ciao.